Aaron, it's great to see you. How are you today?
Oh, I'm so well, Abe. Good to see you too.
It's great we had a chance to talk a couple years ago about season one, a little more recently in person about season two. The show's been around for a while, and I'm curious, how does it feel season two differently from season one?
Well, I mean, these things all kind of have this feeling of like a haiku, don't they? I mean, even from like the start of a good movie, from shot to shot, but it really, it's like we get perspective of it even now as we start looking down at season three. We get a little bit more perspective on season two. It's really different than one in that I do feel like we're out of the overture. We're expanding on a lot of the themes of the show. If it were music, if and it feels very what is it? I don't know. Larger in its scale. I mean, and that's partly because the world of Fallout is ginormous. It's huge. It's big. There's so much to cover, more than we've even touched now, and so I think it's like a nice indicator season as well of what's to come in the future.
I feel like while some audiences turn on fare that is an adaptation of beloved things to them, that hasn't really happened with the show. Like people have really embraced what's going on. Those who are very in the know about what should be happening based on their expectations.
For sure, for sure. It's fun to have the conversations with the well-educated guessers, of the world of Fallout and what's happening. And they are just excited as I'm sure Geneva and Graham and the rest of the team are of what we get into next.
Well, with everything that's going on, it seems silly to start by talking about romance, but obviously, in the few times you get a chance to share some scenes with Ella Purnell, it's nice to see there's a little bit of humanity and intimacy surviving in the future here. What can you say about that relationship and working together with Ella?
Oh, well, certainly. I mean, it maybe isn't a mystery. A lot of people know Ella is one of my favorite friends that I've made in this industry. Is really really talented, really really intelligent. Every day starts with us, doing a bit of an analysis of a scene and sharing notes with each other. And I think that kind of is the base of how we approach the relationship of the two of those characters is the excitement that they have to compare notes. I think is one way it sort of starts, but yeah, it's certainly the thing that really supports, I think, doing something that is what other people would call a genre, whether it's horror or science fiction or anything like that, is the human elements to it. So it's really important for us to always try and hyper realize what those things are, especially when you've got the Howard Cummings brilliance of a full set being built for you, where this world just sort of exists when we walk onto it. So we really need to bring that human element.
And on a platonic note of friendship, it's nice to see a redemption arc for Thaddeus because I feel like people don't tend to like be bad and then become good. I guess maybe the goal a little bit. It's more the other way. So it's nice to see that for a change.
Oh, I know. I feel like I said this a lot in our first season, and I don't know, Abe, if I did when we were chatting last time, but it's that thing where I get excited about it because I know that I've been talking for a long time about how our writers are so good at understanding arc and where characters start, they will not finish and they will not end often there. And we get the opportunity as, I guess, an audience, as a shared audience, to really go on that journey because of that, to feel a certain way about a character at one point and feel 180 opposite later, or maybe just slightly different later. There's varying degrees to it all, but I really am a big fan of storytelling, in that and with those aspects in mind.
Well, to move away from your human co-stars for a moment, that epic Death Club battle feels like a very solitary effort for us to see that I'm sure was not a solitary effort to put together structurally.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Gosh, to even start with talking about the challenges of not just the death claw, but the suit, there's four different elements of that suit that we have to put together to make the suit exist. in the way that it does, from the statue version to the full suit armor to the half armor with, robotic visor helmet, to inside the helmet later. It's even that element is me having to remember what we've done the entire shoot, and in 2 or 3 days, I go in to do just the inside the helmet footage. Generally, when we're done shooting, so we have some idea and like a shared memory as to what we've gone through. But that, along with the three people it takes to puppeteer a death claw, and the different elements of getting that death claw to behave in a certain way for the camera, and then sharing an experience of like, okay, well, that really shows me something, what this death claw is capable of doing helps me understand what I can do to help tell the story of this. And I mean, that whole death claw battle was behemoth of an undertaking, Abe. I mean, like, it took us forever. It took forever, and it took a lot of really, really hot days, a lot of real sacrifice, especially from, the stunt performers, the puppeteers, the camera crew, even scenic, they're still painting and they're still sliding pieces of metal onto set. And this was a very, very long, because especially on TV time, things can't take too long, but it was a very, very long, week process to film that scene.
There's such an episcope to everything on this show, and especially the mythology of this never-ending series of battles, etc. And it's nice to recognize a few faces. We have Macaulay Culkin. Kumail
Mhm.
Nanjiani is someone who I think is terrific in dramatic settings. I think his Emmy nomination for The Twilight Zone for that episode of the new show is one that I really highly recommend to people for his talents. What was
Uh-huh.
it like having him here on the show just for a brief, short time?
Mel, man, just well, really impressive to me. I'm a camera geek because I am a theater geek. You know what I mean? I just I have to be a camera geek in order to have an interest in working on film and television. And Kumail's the same. I mean, he is a filmmaker in his own right, and I think that's maybe been my one of my favorite collaborations on set, because he's just like me, where we kind of know from the distance the camera is from us and what the director talked about and what he needed, whether it was a two shot or we're medium close on one of us, that we knew what the lens focal length was. I like even playing that game with other actors. It's like, or how aware are you of what the camera's doing? Because again, that is our proscenium in this. From the theater nerd of me. It's if it's a 90 really tight on my face, my arms waving don't help to tell the story. It's not going into the lens, and he works in the same sort of way, where he can be very physically precise, and it helps with the comedic timing of things. Comedy and drama both need timing, Abe. So yeah, no, I think he's just a fantastic artist, and I'm always excited. He and his wife are working on something new. I'm super excited to get to check out more work of theirs. He and Emily, they're really talented.
The show has such a large ensemble, and as we said before, it's very segmented. So I'm sure there are a lot of people that you would like to work with, but Maximus isn't supposed to get to talk to them. Who's at the top of your list for a, somehow it's possible scene share?
Francis. I love Francis in our show. There's something beautiful about, like, even the period. It's like a fake faux Jetsons futuristic, kind of period that this show, the world of Fallout is sort of spawn out of. But gosh, that's still, it gives me this sense of, like, for anyone who's into the, mid-century, futuristic, modern, whatever that is, that je ne sais quoi. I just love it. Feels like she's in touching the ancestors of all of ours. You know what I mean? These beautiful, beautiful, beautiful wardrobe that she gets to wear. She and Walton, some of those suits that Walton has in the past, but it seems unlikely. But I have to throw that one out there. I don't think Maximus will get the opportunity, but she is an incredible, incredible actor, and I would be so lucky.
Always makes me think about something like Westworld, where you see events happening. It doesn't tell you when they're happening. You have your idea of when they're happening, but maybe you don't really know. And so I would say it's possible. It's definitely possible.
It could be, hey, like
Well,
text Geneva now.
you mentioned working on season three. I don't think you can tell me about anything about season three, but I'll ask you anyway.
Oh boy. I went in the other day, Abe, to just like look at some stuff. Looks good. I'll tell you that. Looks really good. Yeah, I got really excited. And again, I think that's just the beauty of this is all prescribed by Jonathan Nolan, our creator. You know what I mean? It's just like he's got this really, really incredible way of also working on projects that really keep us excited as actors. Maximus has to keep maximizing. I have to, keep changing my body and keep everything, growing and it's really fun. I'm not bored ever. Everything that I saw was like so new and fresh, and I thought like, wow, people are gonna really lose their minds over this stuff.
I'm sure because it's such an undertaking, it will take a bit of time. So, where can we see you before season three hits our screens?
Before season three, well, gosh, I love indie films. I've been working on indie films. I mean, Abe, I just love I love cameras. I want to develop my own things. My wife and I talk about getting into development ourselves all the time and uh, writing, producing, hopefully things that we don't even have to be in front of the camera, Abe, but at the same time, I'm really fortunate. This job has put me in a place where I get to meet a lot of people and have discussions about so many different projects. So to me, I mean, you know me a little bit. I just really want to take the opportunity whenever I'm really excited about something because Fallout really scratches my itch for now, in terms of especially the big budget stuff. It's just such a mountain to climb to take on these massive projects. I'm waiting for to see where things fall, but there's some exciting things coming.
Great. Well, here at Awards Buzz, we'd love to know what you're watching. And while I'd like a TV recommendation, I'd also like to hear about an indie film, something a little under the radar that isn't Fallout scale.
Isn't Fallout scale? Oh, and then what TV? I'm gonna be honest. In terms of I'm watching Perfect Match right now, Abe. Come at me. Don't fight me over it. I'm watching Perfect Match. I'm very early in it. I can't have anyone ruining anything, but I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna watch Perfect Match like it's a novel. I'm gonna get through it slowly. And indie movies. For whatever reason, I was just talking about this, but it was more because of Iceland. My wife is from Iceland. I lived in Iceland for 5 years, but we were talking about Godland. We were talking about the film about the Danish priest photographer. It's based off of the crate that they found of these old prints, these like large format film prints that they found of this Danish priest as he was traveling through Iceland. But really, really beautiful film for anyone out there who watches this and needs something to look at. But you would really enjoy that one if you haven't seen it already.
Have you had a chance to see The Love That Remains?
No, what do you think?
I was good. It's just one of another Icelandic film that made it over here that hasn't certainly has not been seen by a wide swath of
Not a
people
wide,
everywhere.
yeah, but I've heard of it. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really, really a cinephile culture in Iceland. They don't dub their film or television over there. I think they maybe will dub a cartoon for kids into Icelandic, but they want to see Jack Nicholson do Jack Nicholson's thing too. You know what I mean? They really are they love film and I expect them in the future to continue to make projects that really excite the rest of the world as to, what their film culture is like over there.
Very cool. Well, I am sure you're going to do lots of exciting things in the future and wish you plenty of luck with the smaller stuff. And of course, the chance to talk again about Fallout Season 3, which I've heard
Yeah.
looks pretty great.
Yeah, I've ate plenty more and more times we get to hopefully do this.
Thanks so much, Aaron. Take care.
No, you too. I'll see you soon.